And just like that, folks, one of the greatest SummerSlams in recent memory, actually, no, let me change that. One of the greatest SummerSlams of all time has come and gone. But even though SummerSlam 2024 is over, you're not going to have a lot of time to process it. And that's because if you peek around the corner, we're already on the road to Bash in Berlin at the end of August. So in today's video, we're going to do our monthly attempt to try and predict the upcoming WWE Premium Live event well in advance. I'm going to tell you what I think the match card for Bash in Berlin is going to look like, why I think it's going to go in that direction, and once we're closer to Bash in Berlin, we're going to look back at this video to see how good or terrible my predictions ultimately were. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I know that you're going to fall in love with this YouTube channel because we always upload daily wrestling content. By the way, shout out to whoever got me sick at SummerSlam. I've got this nasty black plague of a cold as a nice little parting gift from Cleveland. All right, let's jump into it. One of the nice things about this year's SummerSlam in particular is that it didn't feel like this filler WWE show. This was a show that brought major storylines to a definitive end while also starting brand new storylines altogether, while also giving us cliffhangers for major storylines that the WWE can revisit in the future. Now, what this means is that the Bash in Berlin card is damn near impossible to try and predict this far out in advance because the WWE can take the storylines and the match card in like 10 different directions if they wanted to. But we're still going to try, and I do think that one of the major storylines that Bash in Berlin will continue to push forward is the trio storyline behind Dominic Mysterio, Liv Morgan, as well as Rhea Ripley. Now, I don't think that we're going to have just another women's world title match between Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. I do think that we're going to continue to get those matches in the future, but I'm sure the WWE is going to want to stretch out that feud for as long as they humanly can because it's a money feud. People want to see what happens next, and to end it in 2 or 3 PLE cycles would be doing it a bit of a disservice. I think this can go for much, much longer. But I do think that we get the next iteration of this storyline at Bash in Berlin in a mixed tag match between, of course, Dominic Mysterio teaming up with his new honeyboo and Liv Morgan taking on the team of Rhea Ripley. And this is where we can have a lot of fun. Who is going to be the partner for Rhea Ripley? You might want to jump on the bandwagon and say that it's going to be the Terror Twins together and we're going to get Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest, but I think that they're going to go in a different direction because Damian Priest is busy somewhere else with a different feud that started at SummerSlam. So I think it's going to be Rhea Ripley and Jey Uso, a partnership that the WWE has been hinting at for the better part of a month and a half, with Jey Uso continuously wondering if Rhea Ripley was single and if he can get those digits. Yeet. I do think that there is enough fuel in the tank to give us this storyline and this feud. We know that Judgment Day needed to solve the Jey Uso problem, and the Jey Uso problem was only a thing because he was trying to get with Mommy and trying to get in between Dominic Mysterio and Mommy. But now that the barrels have exploded between Dominic Mysterio, Rhea Ripley, and Liv Morgan, now we can naturally bring in Jey Uso here without him just feeling like a nasty third wheel. It could be maybe Dominic Mysterio and Rhea Ripley are teaming up together to beat down Rhea Ripley. That could be something that triggers the Jey Uso music to hit, and he comes down and makes the save, and maybe he becomes her new Samoan Heat or something. But I know that this is something that people want. People want them to explore Jey Uso being part of this storyline because he's just so damn entertaining alongside Dominic Mysterio, and we just know that there's going to be instant awesome on-screen chemistry between Jey Uso and Rhea Ripley. And then from here, we can go into Bad Blood, and then we can do maybe Dominic versus Jey, as well as what I would love to see, a women's Hell in a Cell match between Rhea Ripley as well as Liv Morgan for the women's world title. This is how we can really stretch out this feud, by adding these filler matches in between the major world title matches. I think that at Bash in Berlin, we do take the first step into another one of the major storylines that was started at SummerSlam, that being the storyline between Finn Balor as well as Damian Priest, 2 former brothers, not just from back in NXT, but also in the Judgment Day. People don't realize how much history there actually is between Damian Priest and Finn Balor. It goes like well beyond the main roster as well. Now, we've seen this feud before for the United States Championship back in like 2021, 2022. I can't even really remember. It was a very forgettable feud back when the United States Championship was a rather forgettable prize. But now this is a blood feud. This is a feud between two brothers. This is a feud between Finn Balor, who cost Damian Priest the World Championship, the thing that Damian cares the most about. He lost it because of the guy that he trusted the most in Finn Balor. This is a beautiful storyline. It's right there, and you could absolutely stretch this out into Bad Blood, into Survivor Series if you really want to, if you want to do Judgment Day Civil War, or maybe they can have a custody of Carlito ladder match. But I do believe that this is a storyline that they need to strike while the iron is hot. I don't think that they can pass off Bash in Berlin and wait until Bad Blood. I feel like they need to immediately, on the most recent episode of Monday Night Raw, which airs in a couple of hours from you probably seeing this, or at least from when I uploaded, I feel like they need to immediately strike and start to build towards Bash in Berlin. I do believe that the end game here is going to be a multi-person match between all of the members that are involved in this, because there's still JD McDonough and Carlito who need to pick allegiances and pick sides. So there's still a lot of moving pieces to this storyline, moving pieces that could be involved in both this match as well as the match that I talked about previously with Jey Uso, Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, and Dominic Mysterio. Does this match need a stipulation? I don't think that the first one necessarily needs one, but I'm sure eventually we're going to get to the point where this has to be an unsanctioned, no holds barred street fight, whatever you want it to be. It is funny that the Judgment Day has imploded because of betrayal and jealousy, and that's pretty much the reason why Judgment Day was built in the first place, out of jealousy, ruthlessness, as well as betrayal. So all of this comes full circle for the Judgment Day, and they're back to being the most must-see thing on Monday Night Raw. I also feel like for these international shows, you gotta cater to your crowd, and there's gonna be a couple of matches that I have on here that are catering specifically to that crowd in Berlin. A crowd that is paying a shit ton of money. Have you seen the ticket prices for Bash in Berlin? God, it looks like down payments on homes over there. What is going on with ticket pricing in Europe? You guys are getting absolutely gouged. That's a different story, maybe for a different video. But let's talk about how we can play up to the crowd in Berlin and create a really rowdy football Bundesliga environment. Every German's like, oh my God, he mentioned the Bundesliga. Yeah, I know the Bundesliga, okay? I think, well, the first match that you can use to cater to the crowd can be an Intercontinental Championship match between the brand new champion Braun Breaker. And don't forget that Braun Breaker doesn't just have beef with the Sami Zayns of the world and the Ilya Dragunovs of the world. I believe that in storyline, he was the one that took out Ludwig Kaiser, and Ludwig Kaiser is one of those German-born WWE superstars that they can use to really fan the flames of that crowd and create that rowdy football environment that I was talking about. The nice thing about these international PLEs, and when you have an international superstar from that country, is that that international superstar can be a heel in regular WWE TV, but they can be used as a babyface specifically for this match in front of their home crowd. Look at specifically Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre, where Drew McIntyre was a through and through heel, but the build up to that match and the actual match itself, he was treated as the babyface because he was going to get cheered by that Scottish crowd. And we can do the same thing here with Ludwig Kaiser, where he takes the role of a temporary babyface without really changing anything and is just a babyface due to location. With how definitively Braun Breaker defeated Sami Zayn in 5 minutes, I don't think that you could do Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker Part 3 and have it be something that people are really clamoring for. I don't particularly think that the duology that we've had between Braun Breaker and Sami Zayn have been so good of matches that it warrants having a third one. I feel like this is where you can get creative and bring in new faces and, again, cater and play to the crowd and use somebody that's from Germany and Ludwig Kaiser. When else are you going to be able to take advantage of the fact that you've got a main roster German guy that's incredibly talented and super good at his job, like Ludwig Kaiser? It's going to be a very rare opportunity. So unless the injury is so bad, he has to be on this card in some way, shape, or form. In fact, I feel like they've been keeping him off TV for this injury for the sole purpose of making sure that he has time to heal for this particular show. This is Ludwig's moment.
Yeah. There you go, kid. So this would have been short. Oh, man, Jeff, there's another table.
Where are these tables spawning from? Oh, my God. Invisible Man is dead.
Let's go.
Oh, my God.
All right, give me my money, man.
Oh, nice. That was a sneak peek of this week's Wrestling is Cool Match Club, which is available exclusively on patreon.com/SantiZap. This week, we're going to be looking at the 2002 Tables, Ladders, and Chairs Classic. We're looking at the famous Randy Orton versus Cactus Jack street fight from Backlash 2004. We're looking at the famous The Invisible Man versus Invisible Stan in GCW. We're looking at Edge versus Jeff Hardy in a ladder match for the World Heavyweight Championship at Extreme Rules 2009. And the technical classic that was CM Punk versus Daniel Bryan at Over the Limit 2012. You can find these and every single other Wrestling is Cool Match Club watch along that we've done over on patreon.com/SantiZap. Over there, you'll also get the Raw reviews, SmackDown reviews, and the Wrestling is Cool podcast 3 days earlier than everyone else in the world. So go check it out. I'm confident that if you even give it just 1 month, that you're gonna fall in love with it. There's content that we release on there that cannot appear on YouTube. It's just impossible. And there's content every single day on the Patreon. Okay, that's it. Back to the video. Sticking to playing up to the crowd, this might be a match that might not just be playing up to the Berlin crowd, but might just be playing up to me as well, between two guys that had really strong ties to not just the area, but also the country of Germany as well. That being the match between the new World Heavyweight Champion, Gunther, who has ties to Germany, is from Austria, is from that area. That's where he came up in professional wrestling, who just became your World Heavyweight Champion at SummerSlam. You have to bring in the guy that won in, like, you just won the brand new shiny belt, all right? You have to have him on the show, especially with his ties to the region, against another guy with major ties to the region, Russian-born, but pretty much German-raised in Ilya Dragunov. You have to do this match here. I understand that right now Ilya Dragunov hasn't necessarily been treated the best. Like, he's been used to have the match of the night. He always delivers an amazing match, but he has been on a bit of a losing streak. But this is the night after SummerSlam. Things reset. If you want to do a #1 contendership tournament for this world title, you can, and you can have Ilya Dragunov go on a run, fix his image as this guy that's just losing matches to a guy that wins matches, and get us excited for what we know could be a match of the goddamn century nominee in Gunther versus Ilya Dragunov, because they've already given us several match of the century nominees in the past. Again, with these international shows, I really think that you can get creative. I don't think that you need to pigeonhole yourself to just like the main event guys that you know. That you can do these types of shows and give people of the region an opportunity to be able to shine. This is not something that I would necessarily want to see at WrestleMania if Ilya Dragunov hadn't been built properly, but I feel like in the 3 weeks leading up to Bash in Berlin, what many people are just seeing as a B show, but I'm sure will be fantastic, you can use that time to rehab Ilya Dragunov's image to something that could feel like a genuine threat to Gunther, for at the very least giving us an amazing match worth watching and giving Gunther an amazing first championship defense. So me personally, I'm sold on this, but I understand if you have hesitations about this because of Ilya Dragunov's image as a loser at the moment. But again, I feel like 3 weeks is enough time to do it. And hell, look, no one was excited for Gunther versus Damian Priest, and in 2 weeks they turned that into one of the most exciting storylines in all of WWE. So you got half of the guys in this match that did that awesome 2-week build. I feel like you could do that again in 3 weeks going into Bash in Berlin. Look, I know, I get it. I'm being selfish. I just want Gunther Ilya Dragunov because I know it's going to be amazing. I'm sure that Bash in Berlin will be one of those shows that only has 4 or 5 matches, but I'm going to give you 6 either way. And here's the 5th one. I feel like with what happened with Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre and CM Punk, you still gotta keep that relationship warm. You gotta just fan the flames into something that's gonna eventually grow into a major WrestleMania match, that being between CM Punk and Seth Rollins. And I think that you can keep the waters warm by doing Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. And if I'm going to fantasy book this and tell you what I think the result should be, I would have CM Punk interfere, make it look like he's going to take out Drew McIntyre, only for him to take out Seth Rollins. I just feel like you can make so many iterations of these guys in triple threat matches, singles matches, different stipulation type of matches to continue to fan the flames all the way up to a major WrestleMania match between CM Punk and Seth Rollins. And I feel like you can use this match to help continue and further the trilogy of storylines that's going on between these three guys. On top of that, we haven't seen this rematch yet. These guys went to war at WrestleMania 40 in a fantastic match for the World Heavyweight Championship, and I personally would like to see the continuation of this. But I know that in some way, shape, or form, CM Punk is going to get himself involved in this match if this match does happen, and I feel like it's going to shock everyone when he attacks Seth Rollins, not Drew McIntyre, the guy that he's been screwing over and attacking at premium shows for the better part of 6 months. And let's bring it home with a tag team main event. And yes, tag team matches can absolutely main event shows. They've already done it this year at Money in the Bank. They did it at Money in the Bank the previous year with Bloodline Civil War. They did it at the Saudi show Night of Champions last year. And we're going to do it again purely because of the name power that's involved in this. I think it could be Teemu Bloodline being led, of course, by Solo Sikoa, teaming up with Jacob Fatu. I know that things are going around about Jacob Fatu potentially having broken his foot. We don't have the information just yet as of me making this video. He was seen in a walking boot. I'm also seeing reports that he was being told to play up the injury to make it look like he's out. I don't know what's going on. I'm not an insider. I'm not a journalist. I'm just a wrestling fan on the couch seeing all of the same information that you're seeing. But if it's available, I think it should be Jacob Fatu. If not, then you could do Tama Tonga. Definitely not Tongaloa, but again, God damn it, that eye patch is working for him. And I think that it's going to be a tag team match between the team of course, the American roller coaster Cody Rhodes. And this is crazy, but Roman freaking Reigns. Roman Reigns just came back at SummerSlam. He helped Cody Rhodes to retain his WWE Undisputed Championship against Solo Sikoa. I'm sure that we'll get Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns Part 3 at some point or another, but I don't think that the time is just yet. I think it's around the corner, but not at Bash in Berlin. And from what we're seeing, it seems like Roman Reigns is a true end-to-end babyface. He's not this like guy that's got his morals in a bunch. I think he really is just a babyface now from here on out. And I'm sure he's not going to particularly love the concept of teaming up with Cody Rhodes. I think it could be that dynamic that Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins had for so long, but I'm sure that they could partner up together to still come on top of the Bloodline. But of course, the end game here has to be Solo versus Roman Reigns at some point, or Bloodline Civil War games where Roman Reigns gets his version of the Bloodline versus Teemu Bloodline. I don't know if you can make this for the tag titles. Maybe you could. Maybe they do the Freebird rule with the Bloodline. Maybe Solo Sikoa can be considered a tag champion. Don't forget, it was him that held up the titles almost as if he's like, these titles are mine. Maybe, who knows? That might be overdoing it to try and put tag titles on Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, but I also don't think that it's completely out of the question. All right, folks, those are my match predictions for this year's Bash in Berlin. Again, these are a lot of shooting in the dark. I'm trying to make the most educated guesses that I possibly can, but they could just take this card in 1,000 different directions that it's so difficult to try and fantasy book this far out in advance. But we gave it a shot anyways. Okay, bye. I'm out of here. Go, go, go.